So what
Yeah.
I hope they do, I hope they just leave it there for a little bit. Like
Mhm.
that's probably what I'll start if you want. Like we'll start like with
Yeah.
how our week was, like we just did. I'll say like I didn't play
Yep.
much SC. I took a lot of time off
Yep.
of stream just to chill, and I've been playing Albion online again and things like that.
Mhm.
Just to like I talk a lot about these other MMOs, but I need to play them. I've been playing a ton of Eve and a ton of Albion just off stream, and just
Yeah. Yep.
like, hey, some of these aspects of these games could work in SC and are really, really good. And
Mhm.
you know, this is out of all the patches for SC, we know we're live on YouTube. Don't worry about
Yep.
it.
Yeah.
For all the patches for SC, we're this is the first time that it's like significant stability issues,
In a little
significant,
bit. Yeah.
right? Like desync issues. How
Yeah.
are they going to deal with this? This is the first time that they've had
Yeah.
like actual instability problems, not bugs, actual
Mhm.
instability problems. How are they going to deal with this? Are they going to push the patch at the end of the month no matter what? We just saw, again, our topic today
Yeah.
is about the
True.
2 ships. Do they want to sell these ships?
Yeah.
Are they going to How are they going to handle this situation? Are they going to go by the letter from the chairman, or are they going to go by the history?
Yeah.
So
It's
I
gonna
think
be very telling.
Yeah. So I think we could talk about that a little bit and maybe give that as one of the things people can chat about
Yep.
in the calls, just to have the calls be a little bit more unique, dynamic, different.
Yep.
And then we could jump into the ships and
Yeah.
stuff,
Yeah.
just to give it a little more, because like you haven't used the ships, about them,
Yeah.
but then there's more that you can dive into as well, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
You are showing me the wrong screen.
No, I'm sharing you the right screen. I just have to minimize this. I was trying to
Middle screen.
fix my mic.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah, there you
So-
go. My bad.
Oh, good.
Same screen with the mic. It's usually that's just above it.
Yeah. Yep.
All right, 10 a.m. So we're ready to go. I'll put the intro up.
Yeah, so
Let's go.
it was your week as well.
It is definitely my week because you had the week off, and then we had you do it this week. The fun week off. Well, you didn't technically have a week off. You're just very quiet.
I just didn't have many opinions that week.
Yep, 20 seconds. There's like quiet music. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Answer the Call, a podcast with hosted by myself and Croncy, where we talk about Star Citizen topics, but also open up our Discord for you guys to call in and share in the discussion of the topics that we're discussing. This week was quite interesting. We saw 2 new vehicles be shared on the PTU, the Drake Golem and the Argo Atlas Geo, as well as just a week full of patches. So we can kind of discuss those this week. And if you're new to the podcast, hit the subscribe button if you're watching on YouTube and stuff like that as well. But Croncy, how was your week?
Yeah, doing okay. Not able to play much Star Citizen this week. Was able to finally finish Supply or Die. Mostly spurred on by the fact that they sent emails to everyone being like, hey,
better finish.
It's coming soon. You better do it now. And I was like, oh, okay, crap. I'll get on board now. So I finished that one up. And yeah, that was about it. Unfortunately, as always, they released all the really cool stuff right at the end of the week when I can't play until like today. And unfortunately for this, they removed both of the things from the PTU in less than 24 hours. So couldn't even get a chance to play it today.
Super odd for them to do that as well. It's very odd. I don't understand it. But there were a lot of patches this week. I think we'll probably start with that discussion of we had a patch every single day this week, and the PTU has improved. But it's still, I still have not seen Hathor complete on a server with more than 5 players on it.
Yeah, and it does feel like, or it has felt like when we've been able to play, that all of the problems with stability seem to be coming from this location.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's a bit iffy. One of the ones, one of the fixes that I thought were super mega important I don't know about you. One bit of content since 4.0 came out that I have not engaged in at all is contested zones. I did it a ton in the PTU, not a lot on live because it was unstable. I think Hathor is probably going to be the same scenario for me unless it's part of the event, which I think it is going to be part of the event. When we take a look at the loading screen, I think we'll see. But the idea of it just was never stable. The freight elevators weren't working. Like the value of going there was only for the ship, but I never really wanted to go there for the ship. I wanted to go there for the components and the fun stuff, and it never quite worked. So I wanted
the tweaker components, right? Like that was my biggest draw.
Yeah, that was always fine because you could put those in your backpack. But I'm talking more components for your ships, and kind of zero to heroing everything, right, through the actual game instead of buying stuff, and that never quite worked, so I avoided it. This week there was the freight elevators at contestant zones or freight elevators in general should be better, so I checked it out. I was again on a server, literally a shard with 5 players on my server, just me, and it worked. At the same time, somebody else was on another PTU server and it wasn't working, so I don't know if it's going to be good on live or not. But that's the first time I saw a freight elevator work in a long time in a contested zone. So I don't know. We'll see. So fingers crossed that is improved. And the one guy who had it not working in our chat, that was a one-off.
Yeah, that's the anomaly. Right?
That's the anomaly instead of the thing not working be the anomaly. But as far as Hathor goes, we'll have to see. It's coming down to the wire at this point. You said that they were sending out emails, letting people know that its patch is coming. Like
exactly,
the marketing has begun. They've gotten their fingers on the patch, and now it's all decided, is what it feels like. So we'll have to see. And that's what I want to chat with you about. Do you think we had the letter from the chairman? We had the patch matters, the game, the stability matters, all these discussions. This is the first PTU that has lots of instability in it since they've had those discussions with us. Do you think they're going to hold the patch back for stability? Do you think they're going to hold the patch back to make sure the event works? Or do you think that they're just going to go, we'll do it in a .1, we'll keep the event live, people will be able to complete it? And does that matter, right? Like, if you're able to get the event completed at some point, does it matter that it was bad at the beginning? Do they I'm asking you a bunch of questions here, putting it out there to everybody. So, and then feel free to jump in. The last question I want to ask is, does the release of the patch for the event, like it being super mega smooth, matter in the sense of, do they care what the outside world thinks, or do they only care what, hey, the current players are the only ones that matter, and they can handle it? I don't know. I'm curious. So what do you think on all this?
That last question is an interesting thing, because I feel like when CIG care about the outside world, it's specifically during the massive ship sales. Which, if Invictus is coming up pretty soonish. And that would require another patch after this as well. So the rushing would begin now, if that makes sense, right? Like they need to make sure this gets out so they can do the thing.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah, I don't know how this is going to go. The stability issues have now been a thing for 3 weeks or 2.5 weeks
since the PTU started.
Yeah. And you said that maybe they've been getting a little bit better, but from everything that I'm hearing, it is still mostly the same problems that are persisting. They probably have, or I would give them maybe a week based on what they're saying before they might just push it. And I don't think they'll get it done by then, right? These fixes feel rough.
It all depends, because you know how things go with anybody who's ever done any coding or any troubleshooting ever in their lives, right? It's sometimes the light bulb just goes off.
Yeah, true.
So the time scale, it could literally be perfect tomorrow. I mean, I know that's copium, but they could just have the light switch go off and things just, and it just starts working. Because Hathor, when a server goes down, server recovery, things like that, it falls apart. I've noticed.
Yeah.
So it's something related to that probably. And
Yeah.
then, if they figure out what that problem is, then we're probably okay on the Hathor side. On desyncing and all this other stuff that we have not seen for a while, I don't know, man. That's rearing its ugly head again. But we'll see.
It just feels like so many moving parts where like
Yeah.
any one thing breaks, like because of the way that it's done, any one thing breaks and the whole thing doesn't work, right?
Yep. Cards break, you can't do anything at the top, right?
Yeah,
Top breaks.
one card break. One
Yep.
card section breaks and you can't do the entire thing. So like we saw how many problems we had with the contested zones after the first 2 days of 4.0, and a lot of it was like cards and stuff breaking, completely destroying it.
Doors.
But at least you had other ones that you could try to go to, whereas that's just not the case here, really. We were talking about the gameplay issue of there being too many things to do there, possibly, as in it possibly being an issue. It may not be, but it certainly is a limit test, I guess. But the important thing is, with your first question, it is the most telling about their attitude if this gets pushed.
Yeah.
Because it shouldn't. It just shouldn't.
It just shouldn't.
Yeah.
Yeah. These events are, like, for me personally, I feel like these events are not just for the outside world to get excited and come back in. These events are to keep the people who have been here, like, engaged with the game, excited, enjoying it. And if you log in day one, mega excited to do these cool things, and they just don't work, and they have to spend 4 weeks on a PTU where you've done them 100 times, it's not working. And like, there's a whole, bunch of levels to this. Like, honestly, I'm not interested in trying it anymore because I don't want to be ruined for when live happens, right? I want to enjoy it when it's there.
Yeah.
And then the other side of it is the people who are waiting when they come and join it, and then it just doesn't work. It's gotta, just be a kind of really disappointing experience. So it's not just for people on the outside. I think it's for people on the inside too. And if they start delivering experiences, 100%, yeah. And if they start delivering those experiences with consistency or stability, and they're just like, hey, I hop in and play and I have fun, that's what they said they were aiming for in the letter from the chairman, right? And so far we haven't quite delivered on a lot of that stuff. They're talking about item insurance and these other things to limit a lot of the problems that people are experiencing, and that's fine. But delivering a stable and a playable event is also really important, right? Like, I mean, supplier dies up. The how long was Fight for Pyro up? Because it failed miserably at the beginning. So there's we can't do that stuff anymore. Like, we're now a quarter of the way through the year.
Yeah, exactly.
No more.
I think there's a compromise they can do, which, like, the vehicles that we're going to talk about today will bring people back to the game a little bit, because there's, like, it's
certainly
cool.
One of them.
Cool stuff. Yeah. And so you could do a super base 4.1, right? Like, hey, Hathor is in but not on, right? Like, it's not working yet, so it's just not turned on. Hopefully that then resolves any stability issues they're having with the current patch. People still get to try all the new ships and whatnot, and there's a little bit of a grace period where CRG can still work out the issues, can still make money, which, regardless of what they say, it's always going to be up there as a big priority. And then, it's still, that will still sort of hold true to what they're saying about not pushing out trash, essentially.
Yeah.
Or at the very least, pushing out stuff that is priority fixed stuff, then priority content, then way down the line, priority features. So.
Yeah, we'll see. But that's just kind of how I'm feeling right now, is like, ooh, we are at the crossroads. We're at the fork in the road. Which direction will CIG go? And CIG has been known to do this and then do something else.
Yep.
I would love to see if they stick to their guns there. I think that would be so cool.
Yeah.
And it's okay to delay these patches and all that stuff. So fingers crossed that's what happens. I don't know if you can hear my dog barking. I think somebody's at the door. Okay, cool. This mic's awesome for stuff like that. But yeah, so What do you want to get into next? You want to get right into the ships, or do you want to do patch watch? I think patch watch probably, right? Since
Yeah, let's
more
do patch
on the
watch because
same.
we're sort of talking about it a bit at the
Yeah.
moment. So, um, nothing super news here. They do these patch watches every time they do a major release, and
Hmm.
it's like here's all the small stuff that's not like a like a major feature or a vehicle or whatever.
Yeah.
That gets updated. So they have all the updates to the large ships, the big like capital ships and stuff, getting extra weapons. Well, not necessarily capital ships, but you know what I mean. The course, the not the Corsair, the
Multi-crew
Carrack,
ships.
the Valkyrie, yeah, multi-crew ships. If you didn't know, a bunch of multi-crew ships pilots now have access to a couple of guns. We've talked this over before. It's pretty fine. It's a non-issue pretty much, which is good because it means now pilots have more stuff that they can do.
Yeah.
Um, and they talk a little bit about the Corsair changes, which there's been a lot of like Spectrum talk about over the last month or so because there's been a lot of changes in the PTU with it.
Yeah.
Um,
Just
so yeah,
generally,
so
like there was a bug or an issue where they accidentally left one size for like the it just like wasn't the correct weapons on it. So that was like some of the fixes that they did this week. But bringing back the guns to the Corsairs, I think something a lot of people are happy with, but not having it be the only PvE ship available out there.
Yeah, wasn't it? Yeah, when they showed off, I think it was like one of the Xeno threats where it's like the Corsair had the most kills of any ship ever or something.
But like by a large margin. And it was like, whoa, dude, okay, this is a little bit broken. Now, I do think like from a PvE ship standpoint, the Corsair, the Connie are still just like absolute king. And like there is 100% a meta with those is like Corsair, Connie, you rock those. You got cargo in the back. You could grab cargo. You could do any, like it does it all. It's got multi-crew. It's got missiles. They got everything. So these are two really cool ones. And hopefully they learn, for a solo or multi-crew.
To like a few people, a small amount of people,
exactly. Like these are pretty good. But I think they kind of bring some of these into the fold, like the Valkyrie, the Carrack, the Reclaimer, even the Reclaimer, with some of these as well. Yeah. And we talked about the Valkyrie getting its 90 SCU already. But the radar is the one that I don't think a lot of people have seen just yet.
Yeah, I haven't noticed this.
It is improved. You'll see it. And like the icons are a little bit bigger. You can lock it. So there's a little lock there so it doesn't get messed up. But it's still not great. I think it should still use a lot. We've already talked about, hey, Theaters of War is in, kind of, but not really. And then some lore around it.
This was relevant because I was talking about this, I think it was last week, about how I kept getting downed by NPCs. And then killed while downed. And yeah, Mike is right. They weren't supposed to be doing that. They don't specifically say here they're not supposed to be doing it, but they're like, man, it's crazy that they're doing that. We're gonna
those
do
silly
something
NPCs. But they're I'm curious about this one too, because we talk about instability on the PTU, but these guys are still pretty snappy. But sometimes they weren't, and so like when it does go live, we'll see. But this is the main, content update in the patch. Is like crazy amount of changes to mining. Nothing to like the Prospector or Mole or anything like that. Ground mining or whatever. FPS and ground vehicle mining, I guess. Because we can't call it rock mining anymore.
Yeah, true.
Right? So now it's changed. But
so they've separated them a little bit. There's now size 0 mining lasers. Like different size 0 mining lasers. We have, I think it's the Arbor, the Klein, the Helix, and I don't know what the fourth one was.
Hofstede.
Hofstede, yep. So they're going to be in now. So you actually also now have a little bit of variance that you can add to your ROC, which is nice. I like that a lot. And of course, a bunch of new materials. So they've separated out what everyone would previously know as just like the ground minables.
Yep.
Aphrodite, Dolivine, Hadnite, and Janelite are now just hand minables, as well as there's a few new ones. And there's also a bunch of new ground vehicle minables. So Baradon, Glycosite, Fine Maline, and another new one there too. So they have been separated. So the gameplay, it's the gameplay itself will still be like mostly similar, except for the fact that the lasers have changed. But a little bit of separation in resources means that down the line, when you do need specific resources, or even possibly with this new patch with Wakello, if you need specific resources, you will need the right tool for the job, rather than just being able to go, oh, if I need hand manables, I'll go get an ROC and do it. Yeah.
Well, that's very interesting and funny because we when we get into the vehicle thing, I wish what you said was true, but it sounds like it's not. Also, we know what these are. Like this is Karenite, and then these are the all the Hathor, and then the last one being Karenite. So, I forgot what the other ones are called, but yeah, doesn't matter. Because we'll hear and see about them. One thing I noticed: ROC mining, changing the lasers. If I'm using the Arbor, I was able to break everything with it. So they haven't quite dialed in a reason to swap the lasers outside of like, I want a really big green zone, or I don't know. Like I haven't seen the variety enough to make me want to do that. But yeah, so that's what we have in the. Oh, I swear I did it. I think I hit it twice. I literally did it. Some guy did
the problem.
He messaged me twice in the chat to do it, and I did it. I think I hit it twice. But yeah, I mean that's the patch. It's not a huge patch. The event is the patch.
Yeah.
So if the event doesn't work, nothing has really changed outside, unless you like rock mining to just sell the gems. Like the new minerals are still just renamed Dolivine. Like it's the same thing. Yeah. So it's no different at all. And then obviously like the tier 0 thing with inventory. So we'll see. Do you want to look at the other thing that may be the event or may not be the event, which was we have a new loading screen in the PTU?
Yes. All right, so I like that they're continuing to do this. I do hope we see some that are not just news articles and we see like something else fancy, but these are cool. So the last loading screen we had, where it was all talking about how the Frontier fighters screwed everyone over, and like a lot of it was to do with that. There was one small little article in the top right about there being a big crash and people not regenning. What the hell? The lore for that is weird. Why would they be doing that? If you read this entire thing, this is happening. The next event we're going to have has big implications here about people not regenning.
It seems so stupid to me.
Yeah. Why?
Because it can't happen to us.
Well, that's what I was going to get into, right? Like the gameplay implications of this could be, you know how in the PTU we've had that, like the increasing time to regen thing. That's been at the bottom. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah.
I wonder if this could be part of that, and whether that's going to be a event-specific mechanic or an ongoing thing that they're like testing by putting in some lore and stuff.
I don't know.
I think that's what this has to do with. At the very least, the resources that they refer to in here, some of that is stuff that we likely will get at Hawthorne. They also mention a lot about Rayari. Rayari are now an actual in-game faction that we can do missions for. So that will lead to that as well.
So guess what?
But yeah,
except the Hathor minables. There's literally missions for them, and they buy them there. Yeah. So it's like tying everything together. Like you're not just doing Hathor because it's fun and it has rare materials there. And Wicklow wants them. I think all of this is tied together, where you can bring it to Wicklow and get your ships or whatever, your weapons, your armor that is cool there, or you can use it and participate in these this event. I just it's such a weird patch to do this. The patch where they literally buff respawning. Like, you respawn with all your stuff. These things are the best thing ever.
Well, no, you see, that's the in-lore explanation, is that because everyone's been dying permanently, all the hospitals are like, well, we have to give you something here.
Yeah.
As recompense here, have some stuff.
Hold on, I got to stop for 1 second. I had somebody just subscribe for 100 months during the podcast, and they get no alert. There's like this huge special alert that happens when you have a 100-month sub.
That's what you get.
I will replay your sub later, Spark. Okay. Oh my god, thank you very much. And yeah,
100
I'll talk
months.
to you later. But 100 months, you get a special thing as well.
That's crazy.
So yeah, unbelievable.
That's too many months. You got to remember to unsub Spark. What are you doing?
True. But yeah, so it's interesting. It sounds like this is the Hathor event, but maybe it's the event after. But again, new loading screen. Love this stuff. It's cool.
Yeah, it's at the very least a very basic stepping stone towards us getting more ingrained into the lore of the events that are happening around us. Because we are forced to sit there and wait for the loading screen. We might as well read the lore while we're doing
it.
Um,
Except my loading was going really quickly. I had to instead of taking a screenshot, I left the game and came back 3 times to finish reading everything on stream, and the chat was getting so mad. They were like, "Just take a screenshot." No. I will read it on the loading screen.
The bottom left thing I want to point out: the headhunters make headway into Stanton. So, the Hathor thing, whether you want to call it an event or just the content of Hathor, itself doesn't seem very connected to what we just did with Pyro and whatnot, right? This could be a way to join it together. So we know that based on the ISC from last week, that it's very likely there's going to be an attack on Invictus. I think by the Frontier Fighters was the whole thing. But the headhunters then also coming into Stanton and doing some stuff could be very interesting here. So similar to how the last loading screen had a little small snippet of what the next one's going to be, I think that's what that is.
Yep, for sure. So it's cool. Just look forward to how they tie it all together, because if Rayari is a part of the next event, it has not been tested once in the PTU. There are missions for Rayari that you can, like Croncy said, that you can gain rep for and do more missions for, but no event-based things just yet, which is interesting. So I don't know. We'll have to see. Time for some ships.
Just before we get into the ships, just like a sad but kind of cool news thing. Well, not cool news, just a sad news thing. Rip the LA office.
True.
LA office has been consolidated. As far as I'm aware, there wasn't much dev going on in there the last few years, because everyone started moving towards Manchester and Frankfurt.
It was always a small studio, and it was never the forefront of the forward-facing stuff.
Exactly. And the only reason I'm sad is because I went to the VIP party there, and they were doing tours where like they had the big, they have like an RSI door and stuff there.
Yeah.
And someone, I have no idea who, messed it up for everyone, and then they stopped doing the tours, and now I'll never get to do it. So I have extra vitriol to whoever that random person is.
It was a decent office. It wasn't anything special. Like if you did the tour in the UK, which I assume you did, or no?
No, I couldn't do it because I had to do the
this thing
stuff.
Yeah. Like I'm sure that's like 10 times nicer, right? Like it was all right.
I would believe it. Yeah.
And like where it was located was like not like that. It was like a warehouse area, like it was like in an industrial area. It was just like a weird spot. So I don't know, but I just look at it as LA must have been mega expensive, like all around COVID and stuff that. Everyone talked about prices just skyrocketing for all those kind of things, and it probably just made financial sense. But at the same time,
especially after once they acquired Turbulent, and then they had another North American office, right? Like it becomes a lot less relevant. So
also, how do LA people like time zone wise work with the UK and Germany? It probably not that well. Where even Texas might be a little bit rough. So I don't know. It's just go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say, just a side note on this topic, because I mentioned them acquiring Turbulent. We still don't have the financial report from 2023.
Nope.
This is one of the reason that I don't normally care about the financial reports. Yes, this is like one of the most important ones because it's right after the Turbulent acquisition.
Yeah.
it was a huge year for also like 2023 player acquisition was pretty solid, and it's a really important like, hey, you've finished the offices at that point, so you're not like all the money is not going there. They've said multiple times that it's coming. I think last year they released it on like February 1st. Like,
Yeah, they got to fudge the numbers for this one, like they do all of them. I
yeah,
think. Like again, I don't look at those too much because like they put the marketing in with the data server costs and like mix everything
yeah,
together, so you can't really figure out how much anything costs.
yeah,
And I'm just like, yeah, whatever. But at the same time, this is the one where it was like, you're gonna be huge in the negative, and everyone's gonna call it out, and make it's gonna look bad, whether it's bad or not. It doesn't matter. It'll
yeah,
probably people will read into things in the wrong ways, and it'll be all
yeah.
sorts of problematic when it. Who cares? I mean, are the devs getting their paychecks still? Is everything okay? Are the patches happening? Like, why do we
Yeah,
care as players? I don't think we should, but we do. So, but this one I agree is like it's kind of the interesting one, and
it's a yeah. 2023 was a huge year for like them spending money. So it's like, all right, cool. So what happened? I would like to know.
yeah, exactly. But all right, ship
Anyway,
time.
yeah, ships,
Which one first?
Let's do the addles first.
All right, the Atlas Geo. So that is from obviously Argo, and
Hmm.
what were your initial feelings on it?
So news came in like very like small amounts on Thursday. So when they first said it was like, hey, it's a mining addles, I was like, oh yeah, we kind of expected this
Yeah,
because of the event, and it was a natural place to go from the previous addles. And then they gave it jump packs, which was far beyond what I would have expected them to give to these vehicles. And now I'm really really keen. Also, in addition, just like all the other utility it has, where it has the backpack, it has the tractor beam slot, the mining gadget slot, all this stuff makes it so much cooler. So I love it. This is sick as.
yeah. And the one thing that they were saying like around this point in the video is it's not just for ROC minables. It's you press a button
Yeah,
is
this
what
is for hand
Thorsten said.
mountables, right?
It's for
Yeah,
both.
for both. I did not
It
know it was
does
for both.
both. That's what he said in the video.
Right.
I only got maybe an hour with this thing. I don't know
Mhm.
what button to press to like bring the power level down to a hand mineable version
Right.
or above. But it worked on whatever I used it on, and it was
Yeah.
fine. The box in the back, so I see some people in the Twitch chat saying, oh, it needs to be bigger. It's like, bro, holy crap. All right, so this thing can do hand mining and ROC mining. And like it has to like why do people want vehicles, and we're going to talk about this with the Drake too, to just die?
Yep.
Why do they want things that they previously bought die, and then the new thing is what they use? Don't you want there to be a reason to use the Atlas and use the ROC? So the ROC is same power as far as I'm aware, but it has
Mhm.
80 CSCU where the Atlas has 10 CSCU. So the
Yeah. Okay.
downside
Yep.
of the Atlas when it has a ton of upsides is that it has less cargo space. So you have to deal with logistics a little bit more. Whereas the ROC, you can go out there and mine for hours, maybe an
Yeah.
hour or two, and not have to worry about changing the
Mhm.
bags out, right? So
Yep.
that's kind of its thing. So do you want the ROC to just die? Like, come on, I don't. That's for sure.
Yeah, no, of course. You want things to be balanced enough in a way that, once again, I said it for a different thing before. Right tool for the job.
Yeah,
You want all the tools to be right for something at some
yeah.
point.
Which again, I don't think that they're being successful with any of this in this game. Period. And
Yeah.
certainly with these, it's like if I'm going to do mining on the ground, I'll probably be doing it with this now because it moves better than any ground vehicle. It's
Hmm.
just easier to use and can do more. It just is
Yeah.
so good at what is it called? It's like multifaceted or maybe.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah, so it's like, but it's not really super bad at anything. So it's like, oh
Yeah.
crap. Okay. Like I'm still, we've had these discussions before. I just want vehicles to be really good at a certain thing. So when you go to do that certain thing, this is the thing you use, right? So if I was going to do, certain types of this mining, I would want the Geo to be like the meta for that. But if there's another type of vehicle mining, I want the ROC to be meta for that. So you never get rid of them. And this is advantageous for CIG to make money too. You instead of melting the ROC, you still need it. So you have to buy the Geo kind of thing, right? So that's my thought.
Now,
process.
big important thing they need to remember about the Geo is remember what they did last time when they released the addles, and then they had to go back and make sure that all of the tractor beam gadgets were still half decent, and make this available in game day one, please, dear God.
They won't. They won't.
Yeah,
but the Atlas was available in game very quickly soon after.
Yes, it didn't take too long, but it needs to be super quick. Luckily, like that, like make this.
This is made for the event.
Exactly. This is a perfect like cave robot thing, right? Yep. Like the whole fact that it has the grav lifting or whatever you want to call it, the boosters, means it's going to make cave exploration a lot better, which is the whole end part of Hathor. So
yeah, for sure. I love it though. I did a stream where, the cave on Daymar that goes straight down.
Yep.
I went to the bottom of that cave. There was another person geomining down there.
Yeah.
I stole his bag right out of the back while he was mining. There was nothing in it though, which is weird. So I think there's a bug there. Yeah. But and then I tried to jump king out of the cave. Now, I haven't posted this.
Yeah, how much like height do you get?
A
with this
lot.
Thing? Okay.
A lot, bro. It was crazy. So we had a Polaris nose down into it, and I jumped easily 25, 30 meters up to a rock platform, then another one, and then I jumped into the Polaris. But it was like, it took like a long time to like figure out where to land and go. And it was so fun. It was so cool, dude. It was so cool. So I literally, jump kinged out of the biggest cave in Star Citizen. Yeah, it was neat. I had so much fun with it. But the possibilities of something with this is very, very cool. So yeah.
My other question, do the boosters work in space?
Didn't try. My guess is no.
Yeah, I would assume not, because it looks like it's built on different physics than like actual ship thrusters.
Yep.
But it'd be cool if it did.
It doesn't even slow you down while you're falling.
Okay, right.
Like if you jump from super high, you don't die, by the way. No, and it takes no damage.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can't you don't really like slow yourself down or anything like that. So yeah. But it's super cool. I really like it. Really, really like it. Yeah. But yeah, look at how high.
Yeah, I think it's dope.
It jumps even there. Like it can go. It can go, man. It's very, very neat.
So now just give us some more dangerous areas that you can't access through vehicles and let me use more of that. As well as obviously the other thing is that like this also lends more support to like we're going to see more addles soon with other variants. I think it's now only a matter of time before we see probably the exact same addles with a salvage beam.
I think everyone's like, railgun, or like everyone's looking for those things.
That's the next step, right?
Like they're like, why is it industry again? And like people are getting mad, and I get it. I definitely.
You just say, well, you've got 120 something combat ships. Let us have stuff, please.
Yeah. But not on the ground. So yeah, it would be. It'd be interesting. So yeah, the next one is the Drake Golem, which we watched the entire behind the ships just now twice. It was 3 minutes and 50 seconds long. No Drake Golem in that video. So they're doing one of two things. They're either splitting it up between 2 weeks so they actually have content, or was this thing like, is it not ready? Like, I don't get it. I don't understand what was going on here, because they've never given you a ship in the PTU and taken it away. I don't know. But this is the Drake Golem was my highlight personally. Yeah. I thought it was mega, mega cool. How much do you know about it?
So I've watched your video, Morphologists' video, Dead Leader's video, and we spent maybe 30 minutes looking at all the stat comparisons online as well. So I know a fair bit about it, and I have
What do you think of the look?
some concerns. The look is perfect, Drake. Right?
But
Ever
it also
since
looks Argo. It's weird.
well, I was gonna say when you remove the cargo pods, it does look exactly like an MPUV. MPUV, is that the one? Like the like transport one? That when it has like nothing on it, right?
Yeah.
Which is kind of cool, and I think still has enough Drake flavor that it makes me even go, oh, this is what it would look like if Drake stole the idea from Argo. Like it is changed enough to be a little funny that way. Because yeah, the cockpit is the mole. Is the mule.
Yep.
The VTOL thrusters are the cutter, straight up. And so that's cool. So you still get all the Drake flavor. It is very tiny.
It doesn't feel
so
small when you're in it, but it is small. Yeah. Even when you're going up to it, like from the ground, I was like, oh, this is similar to Prospector size. It's not. It's not even close.
Yeah, no, Prospector.
Yeah, like I have a comparison somewhere in here.
Yeah.
I don't know where. There it is.
There it is. Yeah.
Like.
Yeah, so much smaller.
Yeah. That's wild.
So much smaller. Almost half the length, and also like almost half the height. Like it's so tiny.
Yeah.
Because of that, it obviously it doesn't have a bed, doesn't have like any living amenities type things. It's just a cockpit. I love the cargo containers because they are accurate to current gameplay.
Yep. They are shaped like an SCU box.
Yep, and they fit. Well, I was going to say they fit on cargo grids when you actually show it going over to the freight elevator. It doesn't quite, but yeah. But they should theoretically actually properly fit on a cargo grid because they're the same rough shape.
How? These are the parts that I'm like, was this thing not supposed to? Were we not supposed to see this thing? Like, because without the video there, like, you know how marketing is. They're upset, if they have a ships to sell, they're going to sell it. And when I saw something like this, like, how does this happen? Like, the issue with the mining bags that we already have. How do we see this? So, yeah, it makes me feel like, all right, maybe this wasn't for us. I have no idea. But again, this is what we want to see. Standardizing things, it makes sense. Obviously, they're not going to, change the Prospector or anything. But in future mining ships, we expect everything to look like this. I saw a lot of players' concerns about these bags and I don't know what it is. Expanse. Yeah. And it's like, dude, the Expanse doesn't exist. So they can fix the Expanse to work with this. They can make it work, right?
Yep.
Same thing with the Starfare.
If they even want it to, like, there could be a world where they don't want the Expanse to be able to work with these ones, and there's like interplay there. But I imagine they'll make it work.
Yeah. Or the Expanse is not coming anywhere on the horizon, and something like the Arastra, which has SCU based. Like everything is SCU container based. Nothing has mining bags as far as I'm aware. Then boom.
Yeah, it's just like an internal cargo, and then it will turn everything into boxes.
I believe, is what it looked like. Yeah, so they could just be going in an entirely different direction. Like the Expanse could just die.
Yeah,
it's and change.
But yeah, so there's a couple of interesting things when you think about this right off the bat before we get into like stats, which is because of the size, because of the ease of taking out the cargo. This could be a very good sort of like multi-crew, task, as in like you want to do mining and other stuff, maybe at Hathor, sorry, for example. Although none of the mining stuff there I think is relevant.
Yeah, I was like, why would you go with
those kinds of activities?
Yeah.
Like where you want to have a Carrack and put like this ship in would be perfect, right?
Polaris, Carrack, like any group mining events that you would do with your org or something like that, these start to seem really appealing because you can have more of them. So
it also, because it doesn't have a living quarters, like you would need that support, right?
Exactly. How do you drink?
For a place to, Exactly. Yeah, you have to get out of the
can't.
ship, right? And yeah, you're not drinking in space in this thing.
No.
Which honestly fails. Yeah, gee, where's our cup holders on these ships?
I mean, they said they want to
Um,
do that, but not cup holders
did they
necessarily. But
actually?
they said not cup holders, but drinking while in the cockpit. That's something that
Oh,
absolutely
sure.
needs to be something they want to do. So
Yeah.
that problem will be solved eventually whenever they prioritize
Yeah.
it. But yeah.
Love the animation on the mining laser.
Yep.
I do love that the mining laser itself is bespoke and kind of looks like a lizard pulling out its tongue and trying to attack it, like in the top left there.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I like the aesthetic. I'm not a big Drake guy, but I do like the aesthetic existing. I think it's cool. And now
Stats
the
are the big thing.
stats. Yeah,
makes
so
no
I'm a
sense.
little concerned about the stats. And the price of the ship is probably going to influence my opinion a lot further, so it's going to have to wait until then, I think. But right now, I think it might be a bit too powerful.
Oh, it's not. But I think it's bugged.
Well, no, I still think it might be too powerful. Like all of the videos I've seen of people mining with it, I think it still might be a bit too good.
Look at what I'm mining.
Yep.
It's a 3,000 mass rock.
Yeah, that's fine. Like this rock, that's fine. I think you should be able to crack this rock and stuff.
This is so easy with the arbor on the prospector. Like incredibly.
I mean, not really.
Easy.
You're at 26% laser power.
Yeah,
right?
and then I go to a 6K, like a 6K mass rock, and I'm at 50.
Yep.
And it's going pretty slow. I don't know. I feel like it was it was feeling like an arbor when it should have been feeling like a helix.
Yeah, I will say one thing. If we go by the stats from Urkel, apparently it is also supposed to have a charge rate increase. Everything I saw, it didn't seem to have that. So, like, you might be exactly right. The stats actually might be bugged in terms of what it's actually doing.
Yeah.
The number readouts are accurate. So, like,
yep.
You'll notice when you hit it, like the instability does go up, the resistance does go up. But yeah,
I don't know if we were clear. You cannot change this laser out.
Yeah, bespoke. It is done. It is just this laser. Once again, by stats, it is supposed to be the power of a Helix 1, but more resistance. Higher resistance, higher instability, higher
charge rate, and
materials,
a bigger
but
green zone.
Faster charge rate. Sorry, slower charge rate, bigger green zone. Yeah.
No, it's faster charge rate and bigger green zone.
No. I'll have to relook, but I believe it was supposed to be slower charge rate.
Window size 140. Yep. I think if the charge rate goes down, it's faster. No? You might be right.
Either way, very similar to a Helix 1.
Yes.
But like the resistance and the instability are a big minus for sure.
It's weird to have power be your focus and have plus 25% resistance on the laser.
That's true, but like you can counter
because
you're affecting the same thing, sort of, right?
Yeah.
But it does matter for the minimum power as well, right? Having a bigger laser means a higher minimum power, so it's like even though the resistance goes up, there's like some weird calculation there.
And then this minimum power is 20, so it's just like a Helix.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm trying to find like where this fits, and I'm struggling to find it.
Well, I will get to that in a second. I want to talk about a couple more stats. So it has 2 module slots.
Yes.
Which I did watch you try to put the modules on the laser, and it might be a little
difficult.
Janky.
Yeah.
So they're gonna have to change some stuff for that. It looks like the only way to do it is to do like without
you have to pull the bags
your
out.
ship exploding. Yeah, you have to pull the bags out right now. So it's like theoretically, the best way to do it would be to do it over the top. But how the hell are you getting over the top of the thing?
You can't.
So there's a problem there. There's just a logistical problem there. But so it has 2 module slots, which is a lot. That like all the most powerful lasers essentially of size 1s have 2 slots, which gives you just so much room for customization. That might be a thing that I think needs to be changed as well. I think maybe bring it down to 1.
Oh no, I want to see it go to 3. I don't know why.
Like, that's too much.
It's too much. But I think what 2 does in this situation is you have like 2 or 3 massive negatives to the laser, and you're allowed to choose two of them to deal with.
That's fair.
You
That's
don't
fair.
even get to make the laser better necessarily. You get to remove the negatives of it.
Yeah.
And that's how it makes it better. Where other lasers, you're like, I'm gonna, boost this thing up. Like the helix, the helix, you do a lot of like, all right, I want to make sure my green zone isn't tiny, so I might put a focus 3 on it or whatever. Where this one is like, I have to counter all the bad things about this. So yeah, it's a little goofy and weird, but I don't know. The understanding that I have with seeing the power is like they want this thing to be the power laser, like. But that's what the helix is. So it's like, what is it? What is it? And that's kind of what I would love to ask you is like, if you could go back to the drawing board or something here and have a single bespoke laser, and that's the only thing you can use, what would you have it do? And then, I'll give my POV after you, because I don't think you would do this. Am I correct on that?
Probably not.
Yeah.
I would also add the context of like my expectation, and I think a lot of people's expectation is that this is the actual starter mining ship. The Prospector has been the starter mining ship.
Can we talk about that too after?
Sure.
Because that's starting to piss me off. Again, we talked about it a little bit about the Geo as well. I hate that direction of this game and the community and it is one of the things I despise the most about the way Star Citizen is being designed. I hate it. Go ahead though. I'm sorry.
Depending on exactly what you hate, you may not agree with me. Having a ship that is very bare bones in terms of what your customization is
awesome.
Does matter a lot for new players, right?
Yeah.
Coming into
Sure.
some sort of mechanic.
Mhm.
So the fact that it's bespoke is actually a kind of it is a bonus in that way. And this is all very dependent, honestly, on the price of the ship to be relevant to. But the fact that it's bespoke and that you don't have to mess around with changing the ship that much means you then have to start learning different rock types and how they're going to affect your laser, different gadgets, and getting used to that sort of stuff. And they can start bringing gadgets more back into the game because some people use gadgets, but it's still a half useless thing a lot of the time.
Okay, so let me just try to understand your POV. If this is the starter, you like that it has less customizability because you just go out, you figure it out. Okay.
Yeah.
Then why do we have like an incredibly difficult laser to deal? You know what I mean? Like they wouldn't you wouldn't want to give them high power. So that's number one about the whole starter idea. This is the worst possible solution as far as a starter ship from the laser standpoint exclusively. Everything else I would agree with you. But the laser standpoint is like very odd choice for a starter.
Yeah, I understand that perspective, and I think a lot of it may come from just how we play the game. Is if you do have a new player come into it, and like having a high laser power means you're going to be able to break a lot larger rocks, though the difficulty of those rocks is going to be increased because of all the other minuses, right?
I mean,
there's more rocks that you can go for.
You would agree the Arbor on the Prospector was like a really nice solution for a starting ship. Like when they did all the updates to the Prospector and mining, like the Arbor felt really good.
Not bad, like
right?
Now.
Decent amount of power, huge green zone, and just easy to mine. Maybe you can't mine the super big rocks and you come against a bunch that you struggle with, but what you are able to mine, it was easy to do. And this is just an odd choice from that standpoint.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll let you finish, and then I'm gonna rant for a little bit. It'll be a very short rant because I've had it before. It's you know where I'm going most likely once I start.
So because you can't modify the laser itself, all you can do is the attachments. Having a laser that is able to crack more things means, I guess, you get to experience more of the content.
Sure.
And then see if that's for you, and then try to go from there. I don't know if that's the right approach. I would, like, once again, if I was designing this, I would bring the laser power down. I wouldn't crater it. There is sort of like a bit of a gap in between some of the lasers. Some of them are still like 2400, and then you go like all the way to the helix. Yeah. If it's somewhere around there, I think that's a little bit more reasonable, and may not mess with things. But also, this was on the patch for one day. None of these numbers are necessarily set in stone.
Exactly.
Keep that in mind.
They're almost certainly going to change. I would do something similar to what the mole does. You know how like when you add extra lasers to the rocks on the mole, the instability goes down. I would do something like
Yep.
that, but with these, right? These are definitely meant to be used in a group. Maybe there would be some sort of mechanic that they could do where multiple, Drake golems together makes the
Hmm.
mining experience better, and that's how your bespoke laser can be like super cool, bespoke, and
Yeah.
neat. But that doesn't really work for a solo player.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the goal is here. It's weird, but
Yeah.
again, probably nothing final. All right,
Yeah.
my rant. We've talked about this a number of times with other
Hmm.
ships like the Fortune and the Vulture, now the Prospector and the Golem. They keep doing
Yep.
this thing where uh you start with the ship and then you literally throw that ship in the trash and then
Yeah.
move on to something else. I know you can only fly one ship at a time, but I hate the idea of ships becoming stepping stones where this is a
Yes.
starter and I move from this to that to this to that. Whereas other games that we've played, yes, there is a bit of a stepping stone experience with like, an EVE Online with the tier of ships and
Hmm.
things like that. And yes, I can do more with those. And it's more of
Yeah.
I can do what I'm already doing maybe more efficiently, but it's the downside is expense is a real thing. Again,
Yeah.
guys, every bit of insurance thing that has been thrown into this game kind of makes it feel like those expenses aren't necessarily going to be as big of a problem. We'll have to see.
Yeah.
And that's one part of it. But then the other part of it is like, we talked about with the Fortune and the Vulture of like, what
Ultra.
if, yeah, what if one did one aspect of salvage really well and the other one did other aspect of salvage really well, and you were
Yeah.
able to combine these things into a group setting, and then it really makes sense. Or, hey, I'm going for the specific thing, and then I'm really able to enjoy it with this ship, but then when I'm
Yeah.
going for the other specific thing, and I need both. So you get both experiences. And again, like this is clearly a stepping stone from this to the Prospector to the Mole, and it's like,
Yeah.
I hate
It certainly
that. I
feels that
hate
way.
that about this
Yeah.
game. You don't need to
Yeah.
do it this way. And the other
So
way
I'll
literally makes them more money. I don't get it.
Yeah. So I'll extend it a little bit because I agree with you. I hate when everything just becomes a stepping stone.
Yeah.
I think you want those stepping stones. You do want people to get a sense of progression as they, start to get the ships and whatnot.
Absolutely. I'm not
But I
saying
also
yeah.
100% want, here is your prospector and your prospector competitor XZ duo that does a little bit better than this. This does a little bit better than that.
Yep.
You want those choices as well, and them not to just be choices between laser and module. Right.
Yeah,
That's all we've got now.
or like today's stream I talked a lot about like Albion Online, EVE Online, and the way they do
Hmm.
their safety in the game. And there's definitely some indications from many years ago of
Hmm.
Chris Roberts saying things like maybe Pyro will not be an insurable area,
Hmm.
and so that's a thing as well. And then, well, maybe I'm not going to mine with a Mole or an Arastra in Pyro
Yeah.
because if I lose it, if they do add good mechanics with good punishments, I guess, for you losing
Yeah.
ships, then losing a cheaper ship, that's my danger mining ship. That's where I
Yeah.
go to, and those kind of things. So that's where the cost can come into play too. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of like moving parts that need to happen for that to actually work, because they do mention cost all the time
Mhm.
when comparing like Drake to Crusader or something like that. You know what I mean? So it's really going to come down to how they make that work from a gameplay standpoint. But
I
I'm
think
uh,
I'll.
I'm so strongly opinionated about like I want every
Yeah.
ship
Yeah.
that they ever make to not be thrown away and thrown in the bin
Yeah.
and just be a stepping stone to a later game experience. Because then later game, you're just never going to see a prospector. You're never going to see a golem. You're never
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
that doesn't make a
I
lot of sense.
I think one thing, like, I think we can be a little bit comforted, maybe. Well, maybe not, depending on how you take what I'm about to say,
Okay.
because it's a positive mix with a negative. Uh, with combat ships, they have essentially done, or at least they've talked about wanting to do, whether they have been successful or not, is up for everyone's debate. They have stepping stones in combat, but still not like eliminating the usefulness of those things, right? Going
Yeah.
from a light fighter to a heavy fighter to a gunship to a capital, right, is a thing that happens. But along those lines, you'll still go back to your light fighter and use it for something. You'll still
Well,
go to your heavy fighter and use it for something.
sure,
Right?
and what
That
they're
doesn't
doing
exist for industry.
Yeah, but what they're doing super successfully, well, not super successfully, but the you could tell what their goal though is there is a little bit of rock paper scissors within that. So like the heavy fighter is destroying these things, but the heavy fighter will struggle against the light fighters, and then so there's that interplay there, and we just don't have that in industry, and that's
exactly
sort of what I'm arguing.
So, and it might be a harder one to do with industry, but they've got to work it out in some capacity. And the ones that it's going to be easiest to do are the gathering ships. Not even just the ships, but like even including the ROC and the Geo, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah. In conclusion, regardless of what we were just talking about, this does feel like a starter ship. So I am hoping it is priced as such. The only thing that maybe doesn't feel starter ship about it is like 32 SU does feel a lot for what this is, and the size of it and stuff, which is pretty beefy. But you know, a regular game session mining, I guess that makes sense regardless.
I got no issues with it because I like to play with groups. So the idea of there is no such thing as a cargo limit if you have somebody picking it up and moving it around and empty bags and things like that. You can buy these bags, by the way, in the or you were able to in the PTU.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah,
Very
they
cool.
were, I think, 25K, something like that. So they were more expensive than the Argo bags.
That's pretty huge,
obviously, because they're just bigger. But yeah. So they were there, and they came up in the freight elevator just as horribly as you would expect, and so there's that. But yeah,
I'm definitely in conclusion of this, like very happy. You know, we just got another salvage vehicle, we just got another mining vehicle. They're certainly speaking to the industry players recently, with all these new vehicles finally. So keep it coming and give us more competitors rather than necessarily stepping stones. That's kind of it.
Exactly. And yeah, like everyone talking about 192 SU Argo moles, and it's like, why would I use anything else since I could solo that ship? It's just goofy. Just goofy stuff right now. Ready for callers?
Yes.
All right.
Did we go through? I feel like we didn't go through it. Did we go through everything?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah. It was a short week. It was a short week. Not a whole lot happened. All right, we got that random Doge.
How you doing, Doge?
Can you hear us?
Morning. How you doing?
Good.
Good.
What do you want to talk about?
I really like the discussions and everything with the. I just like new ground mining ships coming into the game. I think the addition of the Geo is really cool. And just the changes they're making to the Atlas as a platform, especially with the jump jets. I feel like this is going to make getting around so much easier, especially on planets like Pyro, where there's a lot more verticality to it than there really seems to be at anywhere in Stanton. And while I haven't been able to look at the Hathor stuff, I imagine I've heard there is a lot of verticality there with it too. So, as a industrial player, it just opens up the whole world of opportunity for doing more things.
Yeah.
It allows, now that we have that maneuverability, it allows certain people at CIG to make cool and interesting puzzles and levels that require us to use that maneuverability, right?
Exactly.
So it opens up that world too.
Yeah, and it may be a little bit of a long shot here, but whenever they do the instanced sewers and stuff, maybe taking down an Atlas Geo and there's some kind of hidden mineable down there, some collection of whatever, it's small, it's purpose built. I'm
the Atlas dump truck.
I will say,
curious to see how the
mining laser doesn't do any damage. Just jumping in.
I saw that.
Yeah, me and PC we were shooting at the little worms or whatever, and I killed it with melee before he did any damage to it with the mining laser. So yeah,
it's a shame.
Yeah, as far as the state of the game right now, I just I'm sitting here playing right now, and I probably had the most exciting moment as an industrial player. I took the ship that's been collecting dust in my hangar for years and years and years, the only the Starfarer.
Okay.
And I actually refueled somebody who was stranded in a mole, and it worked seamlessly. In and out, 5 minutes. It felt
That's because
so
you're the
good.
first person to do it in 4.0, so it
The-
hasn't broken yet.
The best UI
Yeah.
of any UI they've created so far. I love that UI.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
just it's exciting, but it's scary because like especially going back to the stability of going into 4.1, like
Mhm.
at the risk of obviously I haven't played the game as long as some people, like this is the best it's felt in a real long time, and just being able to go around and do all these menial tasks without having to use all these workarounds and stuff like that, it just feels fun for
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
like for the first time in the 3 or 4 years that I've been playing.
It's been
And
good, man.
especially as we're expanding the industrial gameplay, because that's what drew me into it. That's what I'm looking for. And I'm looking forward to to getting my hands on this Geo and actually going into caves, because I don't know how they got those pictures of rocks going into caves with the ones on Stanton, that we've had for the longest time. But
Yeah, there are a few caves that let you drive like
A
a
little
very
bit.
short amount into them.
Mhm.
And when I say short amount, it's like 50 meters or something. But then the rest of the cave is still only accessible by foot.
yeah,
It-
I'm liking I'm liking this focus on mining. It's been a minute since we've had it. I think it was like 3.19 when we had the last big mining
Yeah, that was the big
change.
update, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to it. I'm trying to tell some of my friends who have starter ships, depending on how this price for it goes, it could be a really good pull into the industrial game loop, because
Mhm.
for better or for worse, like whenever you're first getting into this game, you're lost. There's no like, most people say, "Oh, the best ship, the Avenger Titan."
I guarantee everyone who plays this game is lost.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like you get
Lost
the Avenger
money.
Titan, and it's just like, where do you go with the Avenger Titan? Like,
Yeah.
you can hardly carry cargo. You can hardly you can go do bunker missions and grind up to rent a cutlass or something. But
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I like where it's going, and I think I think that's all that's really to be said.
Just need some crafting, baby, and then we'll see. We'll see
Mhm.
what
Oh,
happens.
Yeah, I was gonna mention, like, I really hope that all these new materials have already been considered for crafting.
Yep.
And this is not a, oh crap, we brought in all these other things, we're gonna have to work out how they work in the future now.
The tooltips on all of them
yeah.
have crafting implications of what they would be used
Yeah.
for. So we'll see.
Yeah,
We will
maybe
see.
the Starfarer will be able to make some fuel, and we can actually make a little bit of a fun little pre-crafting game loop out of it or something. I don't know.
It would be nice. It'd be nice. All right, Doge, we're gonna let you
All right.
go. Thanks for calling in, my dude.
Yeah, we
sounds
appreciate
good.
it.
Have a good one.
All right, bye now.
Catch you, man.
All right, so our next caller is Shark's Bite. Shark, can you hear us?
How you doing?
Yeah, can you hear me? I might need to
You
turn
okay?
you guys down a little bit.
No, man. Yeah, we hear you.
Yeah, good weekend, yeah.
I just want to make sure that you don't hear you.
Yeah, no, we're good. Well,
Okay.
a little bit. I would turn us down.
Yep.
I just heard me for a second.
Okay. So so I have a few things that I wanted to bring up. I do like the Corsair changes.
Mhm.
The reason people used it is because it had, like, I think Mike said, because it has cargo and firepower, so it's not like, I mean, I
Yeah.
can go out and do some MRTs and maybe even HRTs in my my light fighter,
Yeah.
my Anvil, the Hornet, but I can't carry any cargo, and I have to, if I get some good stuff, I have to wait for a friend to get on, or
Mm-hmm.
I have
Yep.
to find someone in chat who I can trust not to jump me and take it all or whatever.
Mhm.
And so, like, yeah, the Corsair and the Constellation both kind of have that advantage. Hopefully the 600i will eventually get its update. We'll see. I do think that any of the ships, like the Corsair and the Redeemer, and anything that's kind of in that size range, shouldn't be running with size 2 guns. I think that there's just really not any good reason to put something that small. Like, when do you use size 2s on a turret? Who's going to get into a 2 size 2 turret instead of, I mean, even the like the Razor, I think, is running 2 size 2s, so you'd have more advantage putting someone in a Razor than in your gunner turret.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Um,
one of my biggest problems with the Retaliator, like even though I love it and I love a fully crewed Retaliator, is the
yeah,
fact that like a bunch of the turrets are size 2s,
yep.
and it's makes it a lot less fun. Obviously, right? Like everyone's
So,
just like, well, I'd rather be in a
didn't they
hammerhead with 4
upgun
size
them all to
4s, you know?
size 3 now?
That's a good point. They did. However, it does still feel quite small.
Yeah, because I was
Yeah.
gonna buy a Retaliator, but then they didn't move the escape pods, or at least 2 of them, to the back, and there's still
Mhm.
issues with, like, the layout and stuff.
Yeah.
Um,
Mm.
as far as the Golem, I definitely think that we do need industry starters, but I also think that they have to do it so that when you're crafting, when you're upgrading, when we have these multiple tiers of ships, you have to have a use for a top tier geo that it's at least better. You have a little bit of an edge over a prospector, or you have some
Mhm.
resources that are in really tight areas that are a little bit too strong for you to use like a geo or a rock efficiently, but you can get your golem into and be able to get those, just carve out a
Yeah.
little niche for each of the ships.
How can a golem be a complement to a prospector? Like those are the kind of things that I would
Yeah,
love
yeah.
to see, right? What negatives does the prospector have? How can the golem fill that hole, and then that makes it so the both are being used. And yeah,
Mhm.
I mean, think about all the man hours that goes into these things, and people are just going to throw them away, fly something
Oh
else.
yeah,
Seems so
exactly.
stupid.
Yeah, well, and I mean, in lore, you look at the prospector, and one of the things that people they apparently had trouble selling it initially because they were trying to sell it to industry, but then they found out, oh, a lot of independent small miners can go to these areas that industry already went through and pick through
Mhm.
all of these remnants that weren't financially viable, but there's still a lot of money there.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Um, and so I think we have the same room for the same thing with the golem.
Mhm.
I did like what Croncy said because I'd already written down maybe Drake borrowed some defunct Argo chassis um, to build it off of.
Yeah.
I had borrowed in quotes.
Yeah, they
As
just made it
far as
longer
the
and strapped 2 other ships to it.
Yep.
Yeah,
That's
well,
how
I
it
mean
got to work.
the was cutter looks like it has parts from a bunch of different ships. Some of them being
Yeah.
Drake, but some of them maybe not. Um,
Yeah.
let's see. As far as the new Atlas, or Atlas as Croncy calls it,
Yep.
I think that it would be kind of cool to have maybe some flak cannons on it, something that we don't have, or that would be like too large for a person to carry,
Mhm.
but something that would be like small and maneuverable if you want to keep small ships or missiles or bombs or whatever
Hey,
um,
Yep.
off of your people.
one thing nobody's mentioned because of the size is stealth mining.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
I'm sure somebody in the queue is
That's
like,
relevant.
God, he said it. I was gonna say it, but
Yeah. I
yeah,
mean, it's like ODST stuff. If you're doing low orbit, dropping people in. I know Mike said that you don't take damage when you fall, and that apparently it doesn't slow you down. Um, I think that it should. I think that would be really great if they started
Yeah.
building them out for combat.
mm-hmm, yeah, for
They
sure.
did
Um,
also just give them a very cool like health bar. And if
mhm.
like crashing into the ground very fast still doesn't reduce that health, it's kind of pointless.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
part's super goofy, but then like,
Yeah.
but we have the retro thrusters or whatever, so
Yeah.
but you can die in it via like
Yeah, yeah. And they
FPS.
added death animations too
Mm-hmm,
to
mm-hmm.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. I did have a couple more things. So real quick on the
Mhm.
Atlas, I do think that they should make it more modular. So like sell them with the mining laser or the tractor beam, but you should be able to like take the backpack off, and maybe that
Oh
takes
yeah.
Yeah.
some of the
CIG doesn't do
slots
that though.
for energy or batteries or whatever.
Yeah.
Or
I agree, but that's
yeah.
they want to make their money, man. That's how they do it.
Yeah. Anyway, and then I do have some stuff that's not on topic, but if you guys don't mind, if we have time.
There's a lot of callers,
Okay, that's fine.
so yeah, I would hold
Can I
it.
do a
What?
really short self promo?
Go ahead.
Can I do a short self promo?
Yeah, I said go ahead.
Yeah,
Go
he
ahead.
said go ahead.
Okay, yeah. So I make character files for people. Mike,
Yep,
if you want to check your DMs, I sent you a couple.
I have seen them.
Yep. Okay, cool. And then yeah, so if people want to hit me up in Discord, it's Sharkspite. It should be just like it's spelled on screen. I do take donations for that for my time, but if I do also do it for free. So if you don't have time, you don't want to give me AUEC or send something via PayPal or whatever, I'm still happy to make character.
Yeah, they're pretty cool.
We
Are
will
you the
take
one that
donations in the
is
form of Atlas GS.
is it the website that did you make that website?
No, I didn't make that website. No, I
Okay.
do this. Yeah, I do have some of mine up there. I've put
That's
I
where I've
think I
seen them.
have Django Fett I put up there and several others.
Nice.
Very cool.
Nice, man. No, yeah, it's awesome. I've
Thanks.
seen it before. Keep up the good work,
Yep.
dude.
Thank you. Take care, you guys.
GG, bye.
Cheers, man. Gotcha.
All right. And our next caller is a Brycer. I guess the queue wasn't that long, but at the same time, we'll have
Yeah, we want to try
a topic
something.
free.
Yeah. Nothing's gonna happen next week, so it's fine.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, maybe we'll do an open topic next week.
Barasa, you are muted at the moment. If you can hear us.
There we go.
There we
All
go.
right,
Howdy.
Morning, guys. Morning, Salty. Morning,
Yep.
Croncy. How you guys doing?
Good
Morning.
morning. Good morning.
Good,
Had a
good.
good week. I'll start this off. I'm a pretty casual Star Citizen gamer.
Oh
you
no.
know,
Mhm.
So
No, I'm sorry. I'm saying, oh no, my mouse just stopped working. Okay.
No, not a filthy casual.
Oh god, not another
No,
one.
no, not at all.
Yeah. So
Yep.
actually, the only news I really get is from Salty's review of the week. So I don't really listen to a whole lot. More recently, I'm trying to get like a more I guess sense of the community and how everyone's feeling about everything. So I've been,
Yep.
mainly listening to Salty and kind of really appreciate your take on things. So
Thanks, man.
appreciate your videos.
No problem.
there's
Can
a
you do me a favor before you keep going?
Yeah.
Can you move closer to your mic or somehow turn it up? have
Sure,
you
I
at
can
200%.
turn it up. This is closer. I turned
Closer
it
is
down.
better.
Yeah, that's
Closer
good.
is
That's
better.
Is that all right?
Yeah.
All right, great.
Yeah.
So a couple things I want to talk about, mainly stability and when they're going to release this patch.
Yep.
So contrast to the first caller, I haven't really had a great experience in the 0.0.2 patch. The
Oh.
supplier die events, just a ton of bugs. I'm losing a ton of refinery materials.
Yep.
Yeah.
Quantum's not working. He mentioned the Starfarer being used. I feel like the only reason that's used is because of the quantum bugs. People think they can make
Yeah,
point
you're
to
getting
another.
stuck randomly. Yep.
So realistically, it's like that ship's only good because of existing bugs. And that's the only time I've seen it used, right? So I would really like them to kind of wait on this, maybe a week or two. I know a lot of my friends have been having trouble doing the supplier die events, so they've been like ramping up on that, trying to finish those things. So I would really like them to kind of wait on this. And grant I don't play the PTU. I try not to spoil too much for myself. I just kind of look at, hey, what are they adding? But I would like this new mining event that I haven't really looked into yet because I want to do it myself. I want to figure it out myself, to actually work. Because like the last big event, or not really event, but activity that I really enjoyed and probably my best time playing Star Citizen was contested zones.
Yeah.
So I spent that like a whole week just grinding out these cards, fighting players and a lot of bugs. Meeting new players, down players, I revived them, then we join up as a group. Fighting multiple other groups. Like it was a great time. Figuring ways around bugs was a lot of it. So like that whole week where I was just gathering cards, meeting new players, killing players, reviving them, having them join me. At the end of the week, we had all the cards. So like these players that I met, a couple of my brothers, 5 of us, we went to the executive hangar, and that was the most epic experience I've had playing this game. We had to fight, multiple people outside to get in. When we got in there, we have to hold it for an hour. And two different
the anxiousness
orgs.
of waiting inside while the timer ticks down. Huge, right?
Wow, the anxiety of waiting an hour. But not only that, is like 2 different orgs tried to come stop us throughout this hour of waiting, hour 30 minutes. And it was just like the 5 of us holding it down. It felt like Sparta, like getting just waves and waves of enemies. So like the first group, like, there was the group of 7 players and we downed them. They didn't come back. The next org just kept coming and coming and coming. And my friend found out that they were rezzing from a Polaris outside. So, and it took them a while to like re-gear up and re-come in. So, I had so much fun with these contested zones and this whole new phase 0 gearing stuff. Especially with Ruin Station and the executive hangar, I can see that really being affected by how quickly you can come back in and join the combat.
Yeah.
So that's a little worrisome for me. Not just the looting mechanics, but just like the pacing of the current PvP, which I get it's an alpha and everything, but I just had such a good time with it. Having said that, we actually fought them off. We had 2 people alive at one point. They were just one of my brothers holding it down, res the rest of us. We finally completed it, and the hangar door didn't work, so we never got the ship.
Yep.
So it was just this epic, which I don't care really, because it was such an epic experience. I met these players along the week, and they joined me at the end, and it just felt like this cohesive, like it was just great. So I really wish I was on the call a couple weeks ago where you're talking mainly about the Phase 0 and gearing. I know, Croncy, you were at that Magic tournament, right? Oh yeah. Oh, dude, I just did a tournament myself, and it was brutal. If you want to test decks anytime, let me know. But anyways, so I'm a little concerned with how the gearing is really going to affect like contested zones and the future contested zones. Just being able to re-go in and come back in. The other thing really
early it makes them viable, because people are going to want the tweakers and those things, because you can't lose them anymore. But after that, they'll probably get pretty quiet, I would imagine. And then you're not going to be contested. The contested zones will likely be less contested, would be the thing. So I would be less worried about people being able to come back right away, and more worried about like it undermining the like content purpose in the first place, right? But that was already undermined by the ship component stuff of not being able to lose them and so on and so forth. So
which I wasn't able to like loot much ship components just from
the nobody was
not working. Even recently I've had issues with just getting those ship components. So I think that's a big problem. It's it takes so long though, and players haven't done it. I feel like there's a lot of casual players that'll be like slowly getting their way through it. I don't think everyone's gonna bang it out like in a couple months or anything. I think we'll still see some. I don't think we'll see as much like orgs being involved. I think it'll be more small groups, which is a little shame. So I think they do need to like really focus on the reward system for it that keeps people coming back. But I feel like we're going to a point where everyone keeps everything at all times, and then it's like there's no risk. And I'm a player who's like I felt the game kind of going to a space Tarkov area, and I feel like that's where the community doesn't want it to go, even though I was having a lot of fun with it. It seems like we're kind of backing away from that.
Probably. I mean, hopefully they find a balance, and that's really where it is. Like the person who wants to do space Tarkov mechanics can go to the contested zone, and the people who want to do something else can go there and do those things. And hopefully they all are cohesively working within whatever game they want to make. It's just nothing makes sense right now.
And Salty,
like they released content that very much like the CZs feel like they are supposed to be these like big full loot, super risky things. And like
all this is temporary. It just matters of how temporary, right?
Exactly.
And so Salty, you mentioned like I forgot who said that Pyro might be like you lose everything in Pyro. Like I would love that. That would be great to me, right? So if we had like this, like I don't know if you guys played old school RuneScape or anything, the wilderness where you lose everything, and then there's a safe area where you get to keep pretty much everything. So I would love a system like that. The last thing I really kind of want to talk about was like this whole story. As someone who doesn't like follow a lot of the community or posts, like I don't know what the heck is going on. Like from my understanding is like we're fighting to see if the headhunters or the citizens prosperity rule Pyro. I don't know who's winning. There's no track.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
That's not really the story. So you're exactly right. Right. It is harder to follow. I will say now that we have the loading screens, and one of the loading screens has been in live for a little while, has that helped?
So since the loading screens are so long, you can actually read that. It's a little bit, but I would love some voice acting, some cues, some like, hey, this week let's give you an update on how the headhunter people are doing. Are they winning? How much are they winning for? It seems like everyone's doing these missions just because they're like giving everyone hundreds of millions of UAC. So, but like for the actual story component, or if you're a headhunter or citizens prosperity, obviously I'm a headhunter. Like that, I wish there was like a bar, a track, like a tracker of who's winning, so it's like to kind of get the community more involved and be like, oh, like headhunters need to step it up or something like that. So I was,
I would say on that specific complaint, I think what you really want is just a different event, which I also want. I want an event like that where it is actually influenced by our actions, right?
But they said that like the future of Pyro might be determined on the results of the event, right? But like to me, like how buggy the event is, no one really knows what's going on. I don't feel like that's the case. I feel like they're gonna make Pyro how they intended. I don't think we're actually making an impact. Whether maybe I'm wrong, but whether headhunters becomes lawless or you know what I mean. Because like from my understanding, the winner of the event, as that faction would kind of determine the future of Pyro. But I haven't really heard much of like how that's going.
Well, yeah, that's not what the event is. The event
not.
itself, we are just following a story, pretty much. We are
Okay.
not impacting this at all.
Okay.
There is this whole other story that is going on that we are just law-wise, we're just facilitating. Like the headhunters need us to do stuff, the Citizens of Prosperity need us to do stuff, the Frontier Fighters need us to do stuff. We're doing it. The story is going however they've laid it out. The thing that you mentioned about like this will have, well, when they said that this will have different changes into the story of Pyro, my understanding when they said that was not that we would have an impact. It's
Gotcha.
just this law that is developing is going to change what's happening to Pyro.
I thought we were going to have an impact. That's how I heard it. Like if we side with the
I was salty.
headhunters, that there might be like there was like two different directions they can go. Citizens for Prosperity or headhunters storylines, and it just determined what we were doing. Like they would just change some wild lines or lines in the story, and the missions would be from these people instead of those people. I don't think it would have been like a huge impact, but I thought they would have done something.
Yeah,
I'd like it. We'll have to see how it plays out.
Yeah, I'd like them to. My understanding is that this currently does not.
No.
Gotcha. Yeah. No, but bottom of the line, I'd love more voice lines, some like Moby Glass, in-game stuff that just kind of makes the universe feel alive.
Yeah.
To me, the loading screen just isn't enough for me. I think if the story really wants to be pushed forward this year, that has to be it. The stability, it's not there for me yet. I don't think it's there for 90% of players. I still know it's early 2025. Still a ton of issues, losing a ton of refiner stuff, unable to quantum. People can't get between the two systems. You know what I mean? Propulsion drive's not working. There's a lot of game-breaking issues that still need to be resolved. And I hope they take the time on this patch to really get more of those nailed down. I feel like the beginning of the patch, it was better. Toward the end of it, I don't know. It's just not working.
No.
And those are my thoughts. Thanks for taking my call, guys. Hey, Croncy, if you ever want to test Magic decks, let me know. I played a bunch of tournaments. I'm always haven't done well recently, but
like me. Yay.
Yeah, I should have brought a homebrew.
There you go. Link up.
You fool.
Link up. All right, Bryce.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, cheers,
catch you later, dude.
Have a good one.
All right. Bye-bye. All right, our next caller is Clever Bard. Yeah, you are in here. Okay. And I just got to get Clever Bard's name up there proper. Clever,
and
can you hear us?
Muted as well. Clever Bard.
Going once. Going
Use
twice.
That button with the microphone on it.
And we're sending him back to the waiting room. All right, let's bring Blazemonger in. Blaze, can you hear
how
us?
you doing?
Hello.
Hey, Blaze.
Howdy.
How's things? Let me mute the stream there. Good.
Yep.
How's things, gentlemen?
Oh, pretty good, pretty good. How about yourself?
My back hurts.
I can't complain. So there you go. I think I'm going to be shorter this time than usual, but you never know with how things go, obviously.
All right.
First of all, I'm still convinced that we're going to see 4.1 released Friday.
You're probably right.
Yeah.
You're probably right.
It's probably a given.
History repeats itself.
Whatever the state. So the mention earlier about the Golem being a starter ship, I'm not so sure about that. I think they're going to play the same card as I did with the salvage, in that they're going to say this is a ship which is all in all on par with the Prospector. Yes, the stats are a bit different. We put things around a little bit. There's some benefits, like them being smaller. You can fit more in a ship that has capacity, blah, 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 and they'll sell it at about $150.
My problem with that, other than the price, because oh dear God, but my problem with that would just be that like the fact that it is bespoke is a huge problem.
Yes.
as a negative for the ship, not an actual problem. You know what I mean? Like it's a nerf on the idea of mining, and so
agree.
like it's hard for that to be similar to the same as the prospector. I think.
Yeah.
Because you have so much the ability to do so much more with it.
That's fair. But what I would have loved to see, and the fun thing is actually I talked about that I think in Discord with Mike shortly before we saw this one show up.
Mm-hmm.
I would have loved to see a Drake miner between the prospector and the mole. Basically, a miner with a size 2 head with a power
one.
that is.
Yeah, single size you heard. Yeah.
Yeah, well, no. The same head size as the mole has, but
Yes,
one
that's
head.
Yeah, we're saying
that's
the
what
same
I'm
thing.
A
We're saying the
single
same thing.
size you had. Yeah.
Yes, single size too. And if that can be a bespoke one, fine. If it's like in between the Helix 1 and the Helix 2 somewhere, that would be an interesting ship, I believe.
That's true. Yeah,
And-
that'd be cool.
And
Actually.
and if that would come from Drake and has like 3 module slots, things like that, that would have been very interesting. This one,
Yeah.
I'm not sure where it's gonna go. We'll have to see. My position on starter ships is that I feel there shouldn't be a starter ship for every profession. That doesn't make sense to me. A starter ship should introduce somebody into the world of Star Citizen, and from there you should have options in game to grow into other ships. And the prospector is what, like 3 million? It's not that expensive.
Yeah, like 2.6. I love how that's not
Yeah.
that expensive now because of one
Yeah,
mission.
because money's changed.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I
for
want
sure.
to talk on that because Mike and I have argued about this before. Where like I disagree. I think what you are describing is a tutorial ship. Is how do I fly a ship?
Yeah.
How do I shoot gun? How do I activate? All that sort of stuff. That's what you're describing. I think there should be a step to bring back our good old stepping stones. I think there should be a step regardless. And
I
there
agree
should be
with
more
this,
than
though.
that. But there should be a step regardless of I want to get into mining now. How does that start? I want to get into salvage now. How does that start? I also still agree that it shouldn't be for every career, but it should probably be for like the big ones. There should be a salvage, a mining, a combat, etc.
We don't disagree on that. And the golem as it is could play a role in that if it was toned down even a little more. In the same way as, here I go, Eve does it.
Yep.
You go through a series of tutorials explaining you how things work. In that sequence, you end up with somebody who teaches you how to mine. In the basic setup, and eventually as a reward, you get a very basic mining ship.
Yeah, you get the venture, which in my mind would be what the golem is. Yeah.
Yes.
We just can't use Eve in this example though, because
because Eve has good balance across ships.
not just good balance across ships, but a good balance with their economy. Where if you die on that ship, you lose it.
Yeah. And that's fair, but that's for me what I would love to see. And then to Mike's point that you shouldn't have to buy one ship and then basically discard it to buy another ship which is a little bit better. That also doesn't make sense. I agree. But there again, if Scoot would be an actual thing in the game where you could go to Breakyard and sell your used ship to buy a better ship, for instance, that would be great. But yeah. I mean, player economy, what a concept, right? I mean, yeah.
One thing that could help with this issue as well that we're talking about, because it's been an issue forever, would hopefully be the crafting system they've talked about. Being able to upgrade your hulls. Well, if you can also upgrade them to be specific, right, that would also help with this. So if like, we said like, yeah, cool. If this is a starter ship, well, it's like, why would you ever use this over a prospector afterwards, right?
Exactly.
Well, like, what if you can specialize this really, really hard? Like really, really heavily through crafting.
Yeah. What if this is really good with ice or really good with like I just love to see them go in that direction. Is take things like, more dense materials or lighter materials just have certain characteristics that play into the prospector and some that play into the golem, or so on and so forth. I imagine there'll be a couple of other mining ships in the single seater role, as the years go on. The longer
Certainly
the development goes on, the longer they're going to do more variants of the same thing, because
That's true.
they sell. So
Not
For
even
me,
the longer
that-
the development goes on, the longer the game exists in any capacity, we will
Yes,
continue
true.
to get
But
more
it's
variants. Yeah.
but it's more likely they would do maybe the power creep type stuff during the development and less
Sure.
of that after, right? I guess.
True.
Maybe.
And that's where I think we're pretty much in agreement about the whole mining thing there. That makes sense.
Yeah.
With regards to the geo, I still feel that especially the ending of the current event, or the event that's coming in 4.1, has been designed to sell the geo. I don't know any other reason for that. The funny thing is, I was
it could
in
go either
in-
way. It could go either way.
Yeah. I personally felt that I was basically told you're not wrong by comments made through a dev in another stream's name, in another streamer's stream, who shall not be named.
Okay.
But when we made that comment, the streamer actually, or the dev said that wasn't the case. They didn't design it like that, and then said, but maybe the way it ends currently was not what we originally intended. So when he said that, or she, I don't know if it was he or she, I was like, okay, so you're basically saying that you did not intend this, but somebody came up with the geo. I was like, oh, that would be an interesting thing to sell during this event. How can we make that work? Well, let's make it work by not being able to drive out of the cave, but you can jump out of it. So here is the solution for you at $80.
I was going to
Let's-
argue it maybe speaks more to the fact that there probably wasn't a cave to begin with. It was probably just, here's a bunch of rocks, which just makes more sense with what the event is anyway, rather than a constantly reopening hole on the ground.
I think
something like that. I mean, we can argue. I mean, to be
Either way.
honest, they need to make money. That's fair enough. So if this is, I'd rather them do it in a productive way like this, where they have a purpose and a goal. You can question the reasoning behind it, but I'm going like, fair enough. But overall, I think the geo is interesting. I think it's going to come in at a hefty price tag. I think it's going to be way more expensive than the regular
The Atlas was 40, right? And you're thinking this is going to be double that?
This is going to be 70, between 70 and 80.
How much is the
Isn't that
ROC?
more than the ROC?
Yeah, that's where you gotta curb your thoughts here. It's probably be 45. 45,
We'll see.
50.
We'll see what happens. But yeah, so my expectation is
$130.
the Golem will go for 130 to 150, and the Geo will be let me give in a little bit, between 60 and 75.
All right, we'll see.
It'll be more expensive than the others, but we'll see what happens. That's
Regardless,
basically
get it in game ASAP for people to get.
yeah. If they
don't
put it in
care.
game
It matters
quickly,
how much in game.
fine.
Yeah,
Yeah,
100K in game.
rush.
Easy.
Precisely.
Let me loot some. Let me loot some. Let there just be some on the Hatha
Hey,
mining station, right?
There are, folks.
Oh, really?
There are. I found an Atlas in one of the blue garages. The Golem wasn't in yet, but I did find an Atlas that spawned in there.
There you go.
So maybe to help you with the batteries, but maybe the Golem spawns there to help you with the.
That would be
cave.
good.
Mining, yeah,
If
cool.
they do
That'd be
that,
very
that
cool.
would be great.
Yeah.
And the last thing that I wanted to bring up, I thought the thing that Mike did earlier during his stream with the Albion zone system was I mean, I saw that video, was like, I think you're gonna like this, and I think the way you reacted to it was really good and hit some really good points, some solid points. Anybody here who hasn't watched that video, I definitely suggest go look at it, because there's some good suggestions there,
I'll put
which
them
I
up
think
on
would
YouTube.
work.
Yeah, I'll be putting them up on
both
YouTube.
the
It's
Eve one.
just the Eve one sucked because I'm gonna put like text at the beginning. Like, I don't talk very much through the first half of the video, but then there's a point in which they show like the safety system in Eve, and I was like,
and that's where it clicked.
boom, that's where
Yeah.
everything
Yeah.
clicked, and I was like, this is something that CIG could do to kind of,
Yeah.
they don't have to go down the route that they're going. They could do
Yeah.
other ways and other games to figure this out, and like, you know, things could
And
be
there were
better.
there were some very solid points in both of those reacts, I thought. So I thought it was great. So yeah, definitely anybody who hasn't, keep an eye on the React channel, because that's where they're going to be,
Are you
and
my
it's worth
agent?
to watch. No, but
He gets
And
no
subscribe
percentage.
now. Get a membership.
Hey, look,
Make sure you've got
man,
ads on.
I'll slam you when I don't agree with you. You
He
know
does.
that. But
He does. He
when
does.
you make a good point, you make a good point. And in these 2 videos, you made a lot of good points.
Wow. Okay. Holy. I get. The dog disagrees. So
Of course, there's always one.
she's
True.
seeing
But
a
anyway,
squirrel
guys,
for the first time ever. That's what's going on
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah.
that was it. That was it for me today. I'm gonna sign off. And,
right, Blaze.
let's see
Yeah.
if
Cheers, Blazemonger.
the guy before me is now ready to go.
I
And
Yeah,
wish you
hopefully.
all a good day.
I think he's
Yeah,
ready.
catch you, mate.
All right, we're bringing him in. Fingers crossed. All right, here we go, Clever. You working or no?
It is.
Woohoo.
Hey.
Phone screaming. Okay, so Croncy one of my points for me. Just want to get right into it. Waste your time. The crafting for the Geo or Golem or whatever we have, it depends. I think a big portion of it depends on how they want to scale.
Yeah.
Between 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think you could get a really good tier 5 Golem out of the process, and you wouldn't really have to go to a prospector ever. Unless you wanted
Well,
in tier.
that's what I'm hoping. Yeah, that's what I want them to do.
We're all hoping. I think CIG has the ability to do it. I don't think it's entirely out of the cards. They're just not getting specific. Are we allowed to talk about any spoilers at all? Not like anything that wouldn't be in the patch notes or not the patch notes, just the data. Because there's some skins.
No.
Okay. Move on. I love the idea that the Golem works really well with the Drake, Ironclad. Possibly, just dropping your bags
Bro,
right in there.
everyone's bringing up
Wait.
Ironclad now. Is it just because of that? Like now, because I think people are like leaking some. Like I saw some YouTube Drake Ironclad coming this year, and it's like it was in the. It was in the
Yeah, it was in the figures
silhouettes.
of last year.
So
Everybody
I
knows
think,
it's
I think in
coming
this respect, it's just
sometime.
because. Yeah, I think in this respect, it's just because the Ironclad has the best cargo grid. Well, in concept, has the best cargo grid we've seen, or at least like way to manipulate the cargo grid.
Yeah.
So it automatically is
Maybe
going
did
to
a
be
video
really
on
cool
Ironclad that got the
with
biggest
this, right?
ever. It's just the most anticipated ship ever. That's I think all it is, and we're just really itching for it. So the other thing that I wanted to mention outside of just specifically these 2 ships is the event that we're doing right now. In the splash screen of the 4.1 patch on the lower left-hand side, it says that the headhunters have kind of quote unquote won.
Well, it says
and
they're making a move into Stanton.
making a move into
the words.
Yeah, and
could
I
be
think
one way or the other on who wins, because maybe they're getting kicked out of Pyro. But
Well, once again, it's not a. I just need to establish it's not a winning thing. The law is not that the headhunters and Citizens for Prosperity are at war necessarily. They were both at war with the freedom fighters.
yeah, what
The freedom
I
fighters
mean-
lost, and now it's like
what
the
I'm trying to say is the numbers of who delivered more data trine or tin or ice or corundum or copper are my understanding of the event that's currently going on is CIG is tracking those numbers. It's keeping track of the points that we have. Like I have 14,000 points in Citizens for Prosperity. I believe they're tracking that data, and whoever comes out on top with more points as a group for Prosperity or Headhunters, that does change the storyline. That's my understanding of it.
yeah,
and they
which is
really
scuffed
tried
from
to
the
hammer
beginning,
that
by the way,
home.
because I
If you
have points in
participate-
both. I did.
Yeah.
I completed the whole thing, going through like doing some citizens and some headhunters like equally.
Which is
Yeah.
funny because I did not have an option. I've been
I did.
Yeah, a lot of people didn't. Yeah.
And it was
Yeah.
just straight up Citizens for, and I'm fine with that. I chose them, but I was
Yeah.
like, oh, this must not be an option. But
Yeah.
I've been just hammering away at ice and tin because I'm like, I want my boys back at Hurston to become, the corporate overlords of this lawless land. Um,
I
so
will say to support your point of if they are actually following the data, at least anecdotally, it sounds like the vast majority of people chose headhunters.
Yeah,
which
to do their missions. So
because they had better missions.
Yeah, the data tree was. And are you guys specifically talking about this delivery mission system or the ones before that?
Both.
Because I don't think they're tracking the ones before this mission.
No, I know.
think they're only tracking this mission.
Yeah,
but they
for sure. But it's you are inclined to
because
continue
you
working
did
with them.
because you did it before, you would do it now. Is what I'm assuming.
Full 100%.
Yeah.
And then, I think just going back to that final point with the golem, being able to upgrade it, individual components, being able to make it stealthier, the laser itself, like when engineering comes in, when you put more power pips into the laser, you're going to be getting more power or less power, so you can maybe
you don't know
play with that a little bit.
Hopefully,
we know that for weapons. We know that for shields. Like, why would they build that out for weapons and not apply it to mining? And it's small enough to be stealth.
You could say that for a lot of things in this game, but
those things.
I'm gonna say I really hope that's what happens, because then that actually makes engineering matter on industry ships. But and
all we can do is say that and hope the devs hear it, right? That's why I'm saying it today.
Exactly.
When you guys bring up this laser and its power and its shifting, and then we talk about, that is parallel to the last thing I want to talk about with the remote turrets becoming slave to the pilot for many ships. People are concerned about balance, and these are all tier 0 ships. We got to remember, these are all the ships we have are tier 0. We can upgrade them, and the balance is going to get crazy. So there's a lot to do there. The Ironclad and the Ironclad Assault, because I love this ship, it's not because I think it's coming out soon, has 4 remote turrets on it, and I just personally, I hope the Assault has those turrets slave to the pilot. I can just say that, and I can hope
Battle
it's true.
Ironclad, let's go.
It cannot happen, but I have to say it anyway. Without talking about any spoilers for anything, that's all
definitely
I have.
Don't. When you said skins, I was like, I didn't even know there were rewards for Hathor.
Nope, not rewards. I'll at least say that.
Oh, those aren't spoilers. You're talking about what, Wicklow?
No.
Okay, then I don't know. So keep it that way. I like it. I like it that way.
Yeah. That's what I like, and I like to not be bad. Okay. Have a great week. It's good to have you back, Croncy. I said during the difficult podcast, Mike, you're the guy to be disagreeable with, and Croncy, you're a great parallel to that. I love the work you guys do. You give us a voice, and none of the other creators really do that. In fact, I feel very ignored in a lot of chats because it's like it goes against their narrative. That's the impression I get. It's probably not true, but I really appreciate you guys bringing us on and yelling at us when we disagree, and then we get to be wrong or not wrong, but it's fun. It's fun, you guys. Thank you for your appreciation.
Look, internet spaceships are a very serious thing.
Burks is in chat right now, and he's catching so many strays. It's crazy.
I actually don't follow Burks. I don't follow him that way.
Sorry, neither do I.
Yeah, nobody does. He's no big deal. He's a small timer. All
righty, you guys. Cheers.
Right, catch you later.
Bye.
Oh, that was funny. Well, that was our last caller, and that was fun. Burke's catching all the stray, even from us today. What is going on?
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was fun. I thought it would be short. It wasn't that short. We ended up doing pretty close to 2 hours anyway.
Every time. Every time we say it's going to be short, we're still going to go through.
Yeah, I don't know how we do it. But yeah, the 2 ships, don't know what the heck is going on. One definitely had a video that said it was going to be in 4.1, right? The other one, nothing. The one that we talked the most about, by the way. And
because it's super interesting. There's a lot to it, right?
But now, do we get it in 4.1? Do we not? We don't know. So I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Looking forward to what we see over the next week, if they come back or not. One of the other things that happened this week, they got rid of the missions to find caves, which is how you do, the Copian killing missions.
Interesting.
That's a big part of Wicklow and Rayari. So are they doing that?
Yeah, I was gonna say,
keep you
like
from
Rayari, like that's the whole deal, right?
Yeah. So is that to keep you from doing that easily? Well, guess what? I mean, finding caves is horrible. So that's gonna be really interesting if they don't come back. Well, it's not going to be interesting. It's going to be the opposite of interesting. If it doesn't come back, it's going to be just exhausting to try to find cave copian horns. And I will not participate in that aspect if that's the case. Outside of like somebody in my party who loves to use third-party websites to find caves, then I'll join and find them that way. But outside of that, I don't want to have anything to do with it because it's like, all right, fly here to this OM, point in this direction at this exact angle, spin around 3 times, and then you'll find the cave. No. No.
Day one of a patch, I love doing that, and then never again.
Yeah, like, come on, we found where it is. I should have a QT marker to it. Let's go. But yeah.
The other thing that I just want to quickly mention before we finish is there was also one other thing, which is Daymar is completely infested by worms right now.
Oh yeah, yeah.
They are just absolutely everywhere. Which is there's not much to it. It's kind of interesting. There's a lot of really funny videos.
There's not even a lootable on them.
PTVs. Yeah, no lootables, but they do some decent damage, and you can get them in the PTV, and then they sit in your PTV while you drive around. So keep that as a feature, please, CRG.
Yep. Yeah, it was fun, and I don't know. We'll see. It's this is the first event I'm going into not excited. Like all the other events, I was like, oh, I like this. This sounds super cool. And Hathor again, just like way too many moving parts. It's going to be super heavily contested at the beginning. With the tier 0 implementation, I think people are more inclined to shoot them before because there's no risk at all on either side, whether you're being a jerk or just scared and you want to like, hey, I don't want to get shot. You're shooting because you don't want to get, so there's that. And then it's just too many pieces to break, too long of a process. And even when the caves have opened, doesn't seem like there's a ton of material in there. And like, how are we going to complete? So it's just like, whew, it needs a bit more time to cook. And I hope they give it to it. And that's definitely, I think, the theme of today around that subject. And I hope both these ships get little tweaks and we get to see both of them because I am dying to use the Golem. I think it's so cool.
Yeah, very, very keen.
Yeah. Well, all right. I guess that's where we'll leave it this week, guys. So like, subscribe, all that stuff. Check both Croncy and myself out on Twitch if you guys haven't yet. And we'll catch you next week for something. I don't know what.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Also, we got the 24-hour Crocs Cup next week. Make sure you check that out.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, the only other important thing is to not forget
to answer the call. Oh, I got to do it this time. You usually do it. And off. There we go. I think that was good timing.
Yeah, cool.
I just have to guess every time. But guys, thanks for watching. I appreciate it. We're going to find somebody to raid for you.